Hi, I went to New York for Binderycon.
My family's in Florida. I'm in New York.
To meet up with my best friend. Then I ended up in Tennessee twice, and I just kind of wanted to make a chatty video telling you about my adventures in the month of October. So I've been to a lot of book things recently, which is weird because normally the only thing I go to is Booknet Fest and then you never see my face again. But this year I had this theme of I want to do fun things before I'm dead. And so I've roped other people into doing fun things with me. So this year I went to Booknet Fest, but I also went and got a bunch of books signed by one of my favorite authors, which is Margaret Owen. I just randomly decided to drive over there in Orlando. I went to New York twice for bindery releases. I just went to Y'all Fest, which is on my shirt. I went to Books, Gowns, and Crowns. I'd like to talk about all of them, but the one that was most dear to my heart was going to Binderycon and the Southern Festival of Books in the month of October because I got to be reunited with my best friend, Natalie. Natalie runs Weirdo Book Club over on YouTube. We've done a couple of videos together also on my channel when I'm like, I don't know what to do for content. Will you let me yell at you about a book? And she is always a good sport. Back in June, our friend Mari published through her imprint. Her imprint published its first book, and I got to go to New York and witness a few of my friends were publishing books because influencers run imprints through Bindery. They pick up books, they publish them. It's really exciting. I'm also on Bindery, by the way, if you want to follow me there. I'm not an imprint, I'm just an influencer. You're welcome to follow me there. If we got enough interest, I could become an imprint if you're interested in that, but I'm not like pushing it or anything. Point is, I went in New York and I had a really good time, but I wished that Natalie was there. And so when a few of our friends were publishing books, including Mari again, but also Meg from Meg's Tea Room, I was like, Natalie, we should go and we should go together. And when I tell you that was just such a good idea on my part. So Binderycon was over in Brooklyn in New York City in October. Natalie and I were set to fly in same day and about the same time, and unfortunately what ended up happening was my flight got canceled. There was something wrong with my plane and my airline was basically just like, too bad, so sad, go call us and find another plane to get on. They sent all of our bags back to the front of the airport. It was a mess. I got delayed for hours and I couldn't find a nonstop flight. So I ended up flying into Nashville to then get to New York. It was a disaster. Natalie's running around Brooklyn by herself. She had to navigate the trains by herself. So it took me, I had been awake at that point it took me 17 hours of traveling from like the time I left my house to getting to New York finally and hugging my best friend, this poor woman. So we got into New York, we stayed in a brownstone. We were supposed to get there the 13th and have the whole day. We were gonna try to make some book events that were happening. There was one with like tour that we, possibly might have gotten tickets to. Nothing worked out because my flight was delayed and I was just miserable. Meg and Natalia and everybody FaceTimed me from well, I was sitting in the Tampa airport drinking at in the morning. It was miserable. I'm basically just like, yeah, I'm just sad at the airport. But I finally got there, and then on the morning of the 14th, which was the actual day of the bindery event, we decided to go over, me and Natalie, we grabbed some crepes, which were delicious.
Hi, welcome to the show. We're having crepes.
And then we walked around New York for a while. We decided to go, is it called Uptown? Say hi.
Hi.
We're in New York.
We are.
Look at the building. It goes all the way up.
Like Christ Jesus.
To go to the signing for our dear friend Meg, whose imprint published with the lovely Dustin J. Munden, Recipes for an Unexpected Afterlife, which is a cozy found family, what it means to become a father and the afterlife, opening a restaurant in a city for an undead. The author is seriously such a gem. I'm hoping to finish this soon and then have him on the channel. But it was so good to see Meg, and also Mari was there and Natalia.
Go on. Where's Meg? Divide and conquer, or? She got a donk. Wait, stop it. cousin, Maddie. Hi.
Oh, but that's their partner. Immediately upon entering the building, I think within 5 minutes, me and Mari and Natalie were talking about Sleep Token, which if you don't know, we're kind of obsessed with. Mari has great posts on Bindery about Sleep Token, by the way. I'm obsessed with her thoughts on Sleep Token. I'm obsessed with Sleep Token. I don't know if I've made that clear yet. Somebody said they unsubscribed to me for it. And I'm like, you know what? Fair enough. Now, Mari's imprint, it was publishing Orange Wine, which I did finish on the plane ride there. It was beautiful. I did talk about this in a recent wrap up. So yeah, we were there to support our friends. And so we first saw Meg and Mari. We hung out with Natalia Hernandez, who wrote The Name Bearer. We love Natalia. We love Natalia here. So we all went out for lunch, and while we were at lunch, Meg said, hey, we have an extra ticket to Masquerade tomorrow. Do you guys want to go? And we were like, yeah, we want to go. Masquerade is an interactive version of the Phantom of the Opera. If you ever get a chance to go, go. But before we could even do that, we were running around downtown. We got lunch with them, and then we headed over. Me and Natalie went back to Brooklyn to get ready, so we had to navigate the trains. We went and got changed, and then we ended up going to meet a few people, including Naomi and Mary, who we love Mary. We love Mary. Mary is a shining star in this world, and we love her, and she's precious. We met up with them, and then we all headed over to Books Are Magic to do some book shopping. I bought things at Books Are Magic, but I can't remember which books came from where, unfortunately. I know I did buy this hat, which I technically bought for Carlos, but I'm stealing it, and a signed copy of Jenan A. Matari's book, Everything Grows in Jito's Garden. This I got for my youngest kid. Naomi had us film like a recommend a book thing, so all of us recommended a book to Naomi from the Mixed Up Desk.
Crystal, recommend me a book.
The Everlasting Alex Hero.
No, you're supposed to pick up
That's
the.
my rec.
No, that's not. That's not what we're doing.
I love it. It's
Oh
my
my
personality.
God.
My favorite read of the year.
Is it even out yet?
No, it's not.
Okay,
It comes
so
out on the 28th.
okay,
Which
can
is my
we get
birthday, and
back?
it's a gift to me.
Okay,
From Alex.
happy birthday.
Me and Rachel's flying back to Memphis with me because that's where I live, and we're going to the Southern Festival of Books where she'll be. We get to meet her. That's why I got my nails done. I'm gonna touch her. I don't want to have ugly nails.
I'm gonna send this to her, and I'm gonna tell her to hire a bodyguard.
We're mutual.
Oh my God.
I made her laugh once.
You have kids, I have kids, and then we were in a panel. Bethany C. Morrow,
Yeah.
she was saying that her crush is Alex Hero, and I was and Tracy Dion. And I was like, I get it.
Oh.
Yeah,
I get it.
I can't remember what else I bought at that particular bookstore, but I thought I had bought a book about sex ed, but I can't find it. Oh my gosh, is this it? Mary made us these book sleeves, one for purple for me for, it's my favorite, and one for Natalie that was pink. Natalie and I are like pink and purple. I found it. I remember what I bought at the bookstore now. Okay, so I bought at Books Are Magic, I bought Magical Cats, which is a coloring book that has cats as tarot cards, which I am so stupidly excited about. I love a coloring book, but I also love cats, but so does my kid. So I figured that was something fun that we could do together. And then at Books Are Magic, this is the book that I bought. The Fight for Sex Ed, The Century-Long Battle Between Truth and Doctrine by Margaret Grace Myers. I don't know how long some of you have been here, but one of the first series I did was talking about sex ed in books, talking about reproductive rights in books rather. And it like specifically shits on the moral majority and the fact that despite the fact that we like position ourselves to be like moral people, we do nothing as far as evidence-based measures to stop the fact that we have some of the highest teen pregnancy rates and the highest STI rates in the world. And in red states, this is higher. Like in red states, the teen pregnancy rate is actually higher. Where we see abstinence-based education, we see higher rates of STIs and teen pregnancy. So this is supposed to be like a comprehensive history of American sex education and the debate around that. And I'm really excited about that. It's like long-term been like a very, a point of interest for me because I grew up in Christian nationalism, which like purports itself to be like the most moral thing. And yet it's doing nothing as far as like evidence-based measures to actually help people. After Books Are Magic, we walked over to the Bindery event.
What are you gonna do?
Oh, your hat is.
What?
And the authors were there as well as the tastemakers who had picked up their books. It was so nice. They had set up like there were like little napkins with quotes from Orange Wine that I saw, which was like so fun. One person I got to meet, I was really excited because she and I are mutuals. She's just lovely. Her name is Emma Skies. She was publishing her imprint's first book, which was To Bargain with Mortals. I actually got this box and I forgot to unbox it on camera for you. This smells like a mashup of me and my husband's favorite scents. Everything was like themed to the book, which was really cool. It came with a tin of chai. If you know me, you know I'm a big fan. And California poppies, which Emma's from California. Actually, I used to live very near to where Emma's from. I used to live in Grass Valley, which is near Sacramento, which is where Emma's from. The book is To Bargain with Mortals by R.A. Basu. This is an adult fantasy book. It is not a romantasy. It's a fantasy book about colonization. It's about this girl named Poppy who is living between cultures. She's not accepted by white society, but she's also not being accepted by her native people. She has a fiance who she finds out is in a plot to exile her, and so then she runs away straight into the arms of the other main character, the Jackal, who ends up using Poppy as leverage when his brother, the Jackal Hassan, his name is Hassan, his brother is arrested and he ends up using Poppy as leverage. So I got to hear the author and Emma talk about this book. It was beautiful, but hearing all of them talk about all the tastemakers talk about why they picked up the story, what's important for them to have the audience see in the story, and hearing the authors talk about that. I mean, it was just like such a lovely evening and conversation. My friend Madi is one of the smartest people I've ever met. It's like genuinely like an honor to be friends with her because she's just like so incredibly smart, and everything that she says I'm just like sitting in awe of. And so like this was no exception, hearing her talk about Orange Wine with Esperanza, who I got to talk to and say, hey, I loved your story. I deeply appreciated it. I really appreciate the way that it talks about, like, I don't think it was wholly on purpose, but like losing yourself to motherhood and trying to use art to like gain a piece of yourself back was in here. And that's very important to me because I've struggled with that as well. And then of course Meg, hearing Meg talk with Dustin about like the importance of cozy, but also the importance of like fatherhood in the story. It was just so lovely. Bindery always puts on like really special and important events, and just being there was so great. It was so nice to see everybody. I'm very excited about all the books being published. Cry Voidbringer is also on my list. I think I'm going to probably finish Recipes for an Unexpected Afterlife and then To Bargain with Mortals and then Cry Voidbringer. I'm really excited about all these different books that we're publishing as a community, and I just think it's beautiful, and it was wonderful to hang out with everybody.
You did so good.
You are amazing. You are such a fabulous moderator.
Afterwards, we went and got some tacos, some of us. I was so tired by the end of the night. Poor Natalie had to like tuck me into bed essentially. I ordered 7-Eleven delivery because I need Monster in order to function. And by the time it got there, I had fallen asleep and Natalie had to go downstairs and get it. We stayed in like this super, super cute brownstone. It was just so, she like had gotten me dinner like the night that I had gotten in, like I was just like dead to the world. And then we ended up talking and then I fell asleep and she had already gotten us dinner. And then the next night I fell asleep too. Like I'm one tired bitch, man. The next day was bonkers. We got up and we found out that in order to go to Masquerade, we had to wear black, white, or silver. There's a dress code, and I didn't bring anything black and white. Natalie did. She brought this black and white dress, and she's like, all right. I tried to find some stuff while shopping, and I am in a place where like shopping for clothes and like going to changing rooms. I struggled with an eating disorder for a lot of my life, and it still comes back in changing rooms especially. And so it was just not, I was like, Natalie, I can't clothes shop right now. The whole day turned into mishaps around clothing in the most hilarious way. So first of all, we got up and we decided to go meet Mary. We love Mary. And so we walked around Brooklyn for a bit. We got coffee at this like wonderful coffee shop. And then we went walking around Brooklyn. We got just like these amazing photos where you can see like the bridge and then you can see like the building through the bridge. I don't even remember what building it was, but we were just like photo shoot and having the best time. And then we went into a store called Fish's Eddy and we were doing some shopping around there. I sent this photo to Meg and she was like, you need to send me those mugs. We're walking around with Mary. We go to Fish's Eddy. We had a great time. We bought some stuff. I bought this towel that says fuck off, which is hilarious. They had like the cutest mugs, but we kept having to send ourselves things in the mail because we kept filling up our suitcase So we went to the post office, I think that morning, the morning of, you know, walking around Brooklyn, or maybe it was the next day. We went to several post offices. Me and Natalie did. What a time. We're walking around Brooklyn with Mary. We decide to go up the Brooklyn Bridge. Natalie and I never went and got a hot dog or a pretzel. That was our plan. Get a hot dog and a pretzel.
And it's going really well. I'm not winded or tired at all. Come on. Come on, Rachel.
I'm doing a really good job.
You're doing amazing, sweetie.
You're doing amazing, sweetie. So we are walking on the Brooklyn Bridge and we are having a great time. And again, it's just photo shoot, photo shoot. Together is really fun. The three of us together is like a phenomenal dynamic. The Green Arrow. We're on the Brooklyn Bridge. There she is. That's Oliver Queen's house.
Oh, look, a trash bar. There's all my people that I had sex with.
And honestly, I feel this way about like everybody that we were hanging out with. All of these people are just my people. These are just the people that I get along with best in the world, that I just get so much joy out of being around. These are just my people. I have gained so much from this community, but the friends that I have made is like the ultimate thing, where my existence is better for having been able to not just have them as a friend, but like the joy and the honor of being their friend. Anyway, stop it. So just being like with them was so fun, including when I am not at my best, which did happen. So like in all of the fun that we're having where we're walking around the Brooklyn Bridge and we're laughing, I'm a Cancer, both to society and also in the zodiac. And it has never been clearer to me that maybe the zodiac, maybe it's real, because I am one emotional bitch and one thing will take me out of commission. So we're walking around the Brooklyn Bridge and my shoe fell apart. This was not good. So immediately I'm like, I descended pretty quickly. We got off the bridge and I was like, what the fuck are we gonna do? Because first of all, like, we still have to find Natalie clothes because I stole her dress so that I could wear it to Masquerade. We try nail glue, doesn't work. So we're like, all right, I can't go shopping. I'm already feeling defeated. All right, let's try to find some lunch. So first we stop and we found a little store, and Natalie found this dress that was like black with like white ruffles up here, simple, like $11. They didn't have a changing room, but she's like, it'll fit, surely it'll fit, it's my size. So we're like, all right, well, we have an outfit for me, we have an outfit for you, we're good to go. We just need to find me some shoes. But at this point I'm like, I'm feeling fucking defeated because I can't find shoes that won't like give me blisters. I already had blisters at that point from the previous pair of shoes that I was wearing. So we're walking, we're not finding anything. I'm starting to freak out. On the inside, I'm trying to contain it. Natalie's really good at like keeping me on task and going even when inside I'm falling apart. So Mary's like, let's just grab food.
I'm coming for you. Can I eat it yet? Yes.
So we go and we eat the most bonkers, ridiculously good Italian food. So good. We stopped in one little shop that was really cute and had these like really cute shoes that had a Cavalier Spaniel on them, which if you don't know me, I'm obsessed with those dogs. I'll never own one again. I used to. I had one. He died a few years back. I love those dogs. I'm obsessed with them. But I couldn't find shoes that I thought like wouldn't fall apart on me, wouldn't give me blisters. We're just sort of walking around aimlessly at this point. Mary's like, listen, I have plans to meet my friend who works for a publisher for a tour. We were going to go to the sex museum. We didn't end up going because I was just like so out, like my tank was empty at that point and we still needed to find me shoes. We ended up taking a cab. We got uptown and we went to, I think it was Macy's. I walked in and bought ridiculously overpriced Calvin Klein shoes, which were not comfortable and my feet were fucked up, but at least I didn't have blisters. I cried, annihilated my my elbow on a glass table, was bleeding. I started like doing like a half laugh, half cry thing in the middle of Macy's. Yeah, so that was a mess, and I felt really bad for Natalie that she had to deal with it, but at the same time, like, there's no other friend I would have preferred to deal with it, because she's really good about not like letting me pity myself while giving me the exact amount of like space to internally pity myself and cry about it, while also being like, all right, we need to move. So we still need to get down to the restaurant to meet everybody before we go to Masquerade. By everybody, I mean we're meeting Meg, Natalia, Mari, Nicole, Meg's husband, Brian. We're going to meet for Thai food. But first, I was like, wait, I think I know where we are in New York. And I knew that we were near 1804 Books, which is owned by the People's Forum. It's inside of the People's Forum, the building, which is a organization that I took a class on Marxism online from. And while we were there, I really wanted to go there and see it. They have like a little corner of the People's Forum is the bookstore. And so I got to go, and I was like, Natalie, wait, do you want to go to a bookstore that isn't technically like a real like whole ass bookstore, but they sell books. They do a lot of educating on like Marxism and socialism and stuff. So I did get to buy at 1804 Books several different things. Why Venezuela, how the US tries to undermine democracy and sovereignty in Latin America. So this is a collection of essays from journalists and scholars and organizers interrogating history and answering the question as to why the US has tried to destabilize Venezuela, and talking a lot about US imperialism, which is something that I didn't know anything about before I met one of my best friends, Lou, who is a Marxist, feminist, human rights attorney who lives in Brazil in the global south. So this is, something that I think is like really important for me to learn about as, being a person who lives in the imperializing nation of the United States. Another one I got at 1804 Books was Decolonizing the Palestinian Mind by Haydar Eid, which says that it is a critique of the Oslo surrender and a recognition of the tokenization of the Palestinian struggle and emancipation that have become ordinary conduct on the part of organizations historically dedicated to the liberation of Palestine. And the art on the front of this is made by a Palestinian artist who is Gazan specifically, who lives in Gaza, who began making art in the 2014 war on Gaza. That's what I got at 1804 Books, but Natalie got a book of poetry, and we decided to like take a little rest inside of the People's Forum after we bought some books. Yeah, so she opened the book.
Okay, the first one is called Extreme Girlhood. A loop, a girl born to each family, prelude to suffering, bless the baby girl, call of dissatisfaction, patron saint of not good enough.
It's a book of poetry. She read a couple of lines and immediately emotional damage. I almost wish I could like portal myself into New York so that I could take classes at the People's Forum in person, but you can sign up for them online. I did take one on Marxism that was so helpful for me in understanding what Marxism is, especially in a climate where I'm constantly dealing with book banners who say that things are Marxism when they don't know what they're talking about and can't define such a term. I grew up in fundamentalism. How many times have I said that in the last, few years? And I talk a lot about how like my Christian school curriculum, which I always have on deck here so that I can make fun of it, describes such terms. So if like you look for an actual definition of Marxism in here, it just says Karl Marx is the father of modern socialism, in parentheses communism, which those two things are a little bit different. And then it says Marxist socialism, modern socialism. Belief that government should take all private property and eliminate the upper class, which again is not exactly true. So I grew up with curriculum and parents and an entire community that didn't know what Marxism was. We just demonized it. So it's helpful for me to actually learn what it is and the history of it. And that's why I enjoy and support the People's Forum. And 1804 Books is a part of that. So it was really cool to get to see it in person. Because again, I did take that class last year or the year before. Last year. Into 2024. So if you're ever in New York, check out the People's Forum. So at that point, it was 2 bookstore, 3, if you count the Barnes & Noble that we went to for the signing of Recipes for an Unexpected Afterlife, we had been to like 2 bookstores. I didn't buy anything at Barnes & Noble, but I did this thing, and I'm going to talk about this in a different video. I did this thing where I visited as many independent bookstores as I could this year. So that was 2 in New York so far. So then we went to dinner at some Thai food restaurant. It was really good. Natalie got to try pad Thai for the first time. She loved it. Of course she did. Taste. Love it. But then she had to change into that $14 dress that she bought. And unfortunately, she was having trouble getting it on. So she comes out and she's like, I can't get this dress on in this bathroom of this Thai restaurant. I was like, oh, well, if you just need me to zip it up, like just go in, put it back on, I'll zip you. So I go into the bathroom and I couldn't quite get the leverage to both pull down this dress, shut it, and zip it all at the same time. Like I just needed more hands. So let me call Madi in here. She can hold it and I'll zip, right? So I had done the eyelid at the top. This is a story. This is a journey. This is more of an adventure than me getting stuck at multiple airports for 17 hours. So Madi comes in the bathroom. So now the bathroom's turning into a clown car where there's just like multiple of us in there. So Madi pulls the dress shut. I still can't get it zipped. So I was like, I think we just need one more person. If we just get one more person in here to pull the dress down to give us a little more leverage, you just tighten the shit up, pull it, it'll be done, right? It's gonna be tight. That dress was not properly marked for its size. It was tight. But we thought, surely it'll stay together, right? We didn't account for the fact how shoddily made it was. So we call one more person into the bathroom. Natalia comes in. One of us is pulling the dress down. One of us is holding it together. One zips. We get the dress on. We all come out of the bathroom. The dress explodes. It's not Natalie's fault. Again, it's just a shoddily made dress. The zipper explodes. The zipper breaks. There's nothing that can be done. Natalie's wearing this broken dress and we're like, what do we do? Nicole Sweeney says, listen, I'm going to get an Uber. There is is it Nordstrom? Directly across the street from the venue where Masquerade is. We have to be in line at 7:30. We cannot be late or we don't get to go to Masquerade. And we do have a uniform we have to abide by, white, black, silver. So we have to go. So Natalie's either going in a broken dress, which we're not going to make her do that, or we're not going. And if Natalie's not going, I'm not going because I love my best friend and I'm not going to leave her by herself. We get in an Uber. We hustle. We get dropped off at the venue. We jaywalk across, where were we? Is that Broadway? Let's say it is. We jaywalk across Broadway and we run into Nordstrom and we go up 3 escalators. I get Natalie to the fitting room. She hulks out of this dress instead of just having me undo the clasp. Dress comes off. Madi and Nicole are handing her things. She tries one on. I'm like, that's fine. That'll work. Nicole comes back with something. I'm like, this is the one. This literally looks like something Natalie would buy and love. She puts it on. She loves it. It's just a black dress that looks kind of like a man's shirt, but bigger, like a man's formal shirt. It's exactly Natalie. It looks great on her. She would look great in anything. I love her so much. And so she puts this thing on. I'm like, that's the one we're doing. Let's go. I'm like, leave the dress there. So they're probably wondering where the fuck this extra dress came from. Left on the floor of a Nordstrom. We go back down 3 escalators. We literally are like, hey, you have to ring her up in this dress. We have to run across the street and get to the show. At this point, it's like 7:10. So the poor lady is like ringing up this dress while Natalie's in it. Natalie's paying for it. Nicole's cutting the tag. I love that I captured all of this, by the way. Yes, Rachel. Filming everything but yourself. We get out of there at 7:15. We have to, again, jaywalk across Broadway or wherever.
It's John Cena!
And get in line outside of Masquerade. It was bonkers. She looked great. We get there, we all get in line, we get our masks on, which is where we took this like beautiful picture. Natalie's turned this whole thing into like a framed thing in her house. It's really cute. So then we go to Masquerade, which again is an interactive version of the Phantom of the Opera. This is the best thing that I've ever been to. I saw the Phantom of the Opera on Broadway when I was younger. This was better. They actually like, you're interacting. So they're like walking amongst you. You're not allowed to like film anything. There is no stage. You're standing in it and it's throughout this entire building. So you're walking upstairs. You go outside. It was so beautiful. Natalie had never seen the Phantom of the Opera, period. So she doesn't know the story, which was so exciting. She had no idea what was going to happen. It was just such an amazing experience. And what an incredible like feat to be able to make an entire, I don't even know what that building we were in was, make an entire building a stage and make the audience part of it. I mean, whoever came up with that is truly a genius. So we leave that. We're exhausted, by the way. Like, I'm not cut out for this. I've been begging Natalie to take me multiple times a day to go get monsters. I'm sure she's fucking sick of me. After this, we go over to, I forget what it's called, but we go to just get desserts and french fries. Mary ends up asking, hey, if nobody wants to eat their whipped cream, can I have it? And so the server came out with like sides of whipped cream for Mary. We just hung out and ate dessert and talked about whether or not Phantom of the Opera constitutes a dark romance or not, and had a great time. Oh, Mary didn't even go to Phantom of the Opera, by the way. She went and saw, I think, Gatsby? Yeah, she went and saw Gatsby. She had a bunch of notes afterwards because she's a theater kid. And then she came and met up with us. We like saw her down the road. And then we had to take trains and say goodbye to each other. It was really sad because everybody was heading out the next day, including me and Natalie. And originally I had planned to go home. I had a flight that was leaving from JFK to Tampa, or LaGuardia to Tampa or something. I don't remember. And I just didn't get on that flight, and I took a different one. I went home with Natalie to Memphis, but we'll get there. So we are taking trains, and we're so tired, and we're, you know, everybody's saying goodbye, and everybody has to get off at different stops, and then we give hugs and make plans to see each other again. Natalie and I go back to the Brownstone, talk a bunch about the Phantom of the Opera, pass the fuck out. In the morning, we kind of had to pack up. I think this is when we went to the post office. And then we went and met up with Mary again because Mary was still around. And we were like, let's go see some more bookstores. Let's go do some more stuff before we have to go get on flights at like, I don't know, 6 o'clock or something. 6 or 7, something like that. We had to get to the airport. Mary had driven in. She was going to drive out. And so we met up with her. We just like walked around a little bit around, where were we? Were we still in Brooklyn? I don't even remember. Some part of New York. This part with this area. We went to the Ripped Bodice.
What did you say?
You said stop being a dick.
Sorry, I got dickitis.
Which is another bookstore, and it's very popular. We finally got to go. We got such cute pictures both inside and outside of the place, but I don't know if I bought anything for myself at the Ripped Bodice, but I did buy some stuff for our dear friend Kirsten, who we love and adore, who I'm begging to come back to BookNet Fest this year. Kirsten sent us such nice packages, me and Natalie both, and we were like, we have to send Kirsten some stuff. So I picked up like, I don't know, 2 or 3 books for Kirsten, like a tote, some stickers and stuff, and then we went to the post office for the second time that day after that. But the Ripped Bodice was such a nice, like just such an incredible bookstore. I can understand why people are so obsessed with it in New York. They have this like post-it wall in the bathroom, and I definitely needed to leave my marks, so I left a little note that said like, I don't know, Rachel loves Natalie or something, which objectively probably the truest thing on that wall. I love you so much. Just a really wonderful bookstore. They had a great like blind date with a book section, but I could definitely tell what all of those different books were. It was just like a real, like I was really impressed by that bookstore. Like I really understand why everybody in New York is obsessed with going to the Ripped Bodice. I get it. The hype is real. It was also really chill in there. The workers were definitely talking about like books with pegging in it, and I was like, yes. They know their craft. They know what they're doing. They're exactly the right people to work here. Got bagels at some point, either before or after this.
So she gets back, she gets her job, she moves in with Samba. Samba seems nice too. The kids love him. They play.
Mary wanted to go to a bakery. We checked out a bakery. I bought some stuff that I then forgot to send to my kids. So that was 3 bookstores in New York. Next time we'll have to check out the ones that we missed because there were several that we missed. But that was not the end of my bookstore shopping for this trip because I decided to go home with Natalie to Memphis, and then we got in the car the day after to drive to Nashville for the Southern Festival of Books. So we said goodbye to Mary. Mary drove us like a little bit further north. She was going south. She drove us further north so that we could get to, so we needed to get to LaGuardia, and that was out of Mary's way. So she drove us a little bit further up just so that the Uber was less expensive, which saved us like $20. We love Mary. We love you so much. We get in a van. We must have absolutely just, I mean, the amount of cab drivers who heard us talking absolute nonsense and shit this entire trip was hilarious. Although I will say that one experience we had in a cab, we almost saw grown men fighting, which was funny. Natalie asked me, how bad were you straining to get out of the car and break up the fight, which is very me. It's funny that she knew that without me even saying anything. And then when I told Carlos about it, he said the same thing. Every Capricorn in my life knows me too well. We get to the airport finally after, you know, terrorizing yet another Uber driver. We get inside and, you know, just goof the hell off for several hours. Some pretty good food at LaGuardia Airport too. Anyway, so we get on the plane. Natalie starts reading a book that she bought while she was at the Roped Bodice, which is the taking of Sleeping Beauty. That got real rapey from like page 2. And so we're like really weirded out on the plane. So I switched over to my book and we just start being like, none of these sentences make any sense. And we wasted so much time talking about it. She spilled an entire Coke on my compression socks. The kid, the 11-year-old that was sitting like adjacent to us, was picking his nose. Natalie was horrified by this. She could not stand it. We touched down in Memphis airport and we cannot find the car. Natalie had to go find it while I just sat on my suitcase and sort of lost touch with reality because I was so tired. At this point, again, I had been up way too long. There wasn't enough Monster to keep me going. I start getting restless legs. When she finally finds the car, we get in the car. I start getting restless legs on the hour drive home, and I'm just like losing it. We get back to her house. Her cat is a hilarious fuzzball of demon chaos. I pass the hell out. We wake up in the morning and then we have like some time before her family gets home from work/school, and then we have to drive to Nashville because we want to go to the Southern Festival of Books on Friday and on Saturday and Sunday. I don't know. Which days was the Southern Festival of Books, Natalie? Help me. Okay, so we flew back in, and then, okay, so Friday was our driving day. Saturday and Sunday was the Southern Festival of Books. But the Friday stuff we didn't really want to go to. We wanted to go see Alexi Harrow and get our copies of the Everlasting we wanted to get the copies of the Everlasting and get them signed, see a couple of other authors, listen in on a couple of panels. So we did a bookstore crawl in Nashville. So one place that we went to was the bookshop in Nashville. We got a couple of pictures of us outside. This was a small but mighty bookstore. I had to pee like 6 times while I was there. I don't know why I'm telling you this. I just feel like I need to tell you. I had to pee so much. Actually, finding bathrooms, like me having to pee constantly, probably drove Natalie insane. I'm surprised we're still friends after this.
I saw this at the other bookstore, and it really intrigued me. But I've already read this author, and I was... What else did you read by him? Done and dusted. Done and dusted. Yeehaw.
So at the bookshop, I bought A Palace Near the Wind by Ai Zhang. This is like a short fantasy book. Natalie bought me my first tarot deck, which is the Banned Books tarot deck. Apparently you're not supposed to buy your own first tarot deck. Somebody else is supposed to buy it for you. And so she bought me my first tarot deck, which is Banned Books, which I'm really excited about. I'm hoping to use this in some content coming up, but I thought I haven't actually opened it. So I thought maybe we could open it together real quick. While I have you, and I'm talking your ear off about my adventures, as a treat, we could, you know, look at this together. So here she is. Very cutesy. So she has a book explaining the major arcana, etc. The illustrator is Matthew Taylor Wilson. Wow, look at that. That's gorgeous. So the first banned book that's coming up, I don't know that I'm going to actually open this right this second. I don't know if there's like procedure or something I need to look up first, but the one book that you can see, or the one character that you can see, is The Adventures of Huckleberry Finn by Mark Twain, and it is the Fool card. The Banned Books Tarot deck is a light in the darkness. It combines the century-old wisdom of tarot with insightful lessons from revolutionary classics to illuminate your path. Powerful art by Matthew Taylor Wilson and custom suits make this a must-have deck for any book lover. So it contains, on the back it says, books like The Bell Jar, The Absolute Diary of a Part-Time Indian, Fahrenheit 451, and The Awakening. Wow, the art really is incredible. I'm excited to learn how to use tarot and also use this for, you know, content about banned books, which is part of what I do here. A couple of books that I might have bought at the bookshop, or I think I got this one at the bookshop, which is The People's Project, curated by Saeed Jones and Maggie Smith, which is poems and essays, just sort of like to inspire hope and conversation in the wake of the last election going a certain kind of way. I think I got this at the bookshop. This one I either got at the bookshop or I might have gotten it at Bookstore Magic in Brooklyn. I don't know, but this is Halfway to Somewhere by Jose Pimienta, which I got for my son. Actually, this is a middle grade graphic novel about a kid who moves to Kansas. The main character is Ave, and their family is moving to Kansas, except they find out that their father and sister are actually staying in Mexico. Their mom is having a lot of trouble acclimating in Kansas, so are they, and also they're having trouble because they really don't like fully know English, so that's a point of contention as well, and just the struggles of like being a kid and experiencing all of that. So I bought this for my son. Hopefully we can read it together. So I either bought this again at Books Are Magic or the bookshop, or I might have gotten it where I bought Atana and the Firebird, which was novelette. I also bought this for both me and my kid. This is about a firebird and a mermaid, and they travel together to new islands and come across a very powerful witch queen. This is for ages 8 to 12, but I love a middle grade book and I love a graphic novel, so I'm excited to read this with my 9-year-old. And I got that at Novelette, which was such a cute bookstore. They had a great selection. Natalie even found Pounded by Produce there. Got this like cute little picture of her there. They just had such a great selection and I really appreciated them. It was pretty dead in there, but I think that's because everybody was at the Southern Festival of Books. You found it! You look so happy. I'm thrilled. Never seen you happier.
I know, I'm having a great time.
I have never ever been happier. Never. But I would definitely go back to Novelette. I would honestly go back to any bookstore in Nashville, the Bookshop, Novelette, and McKay's, which is such a great store. It's not just books, it's used books, like row after row of used books, but also they have records and they have clothes. About this great jacket there that I've been wearing everywhere. And at McKay's, I bought, and you're not gonna believe this, but this is a signed copy of School Moms, Parent Activism, Partisan Politics, and Battle for Public Education. So this is basically like, let's shit on moms for liberty. And it's a signed copy, I found out. I got this for $5 at McKay's and it's signed. Unless somebody just scribbled. I wouldn't know. I'm just going to pretend it's signed either way. I also bought for $2 Ejaculate Responsibly. Again, I'm really into books on reproductive rights. And Touched Out, Motherhood, Consent, and Control, which is something that Natalie and I talk about a lot, how motherhood can also feel like a horror sometimes because you lose control of your own body. You lose a lot of bodily autonomy just being a mother. So I really enjoyed McKay's. I got like really well-priced books that I'm genuinely interested, all of them being nonfiction, which I'm really gravitating right now towards wanting to read a nonfiction book. I have to stop filming. My battery's dying because I talked so much. All right, where were we? We got some cute pictures outside of McKay's. I don't remember what Natalie bought at McKay's, but it's probably in her video, which she did talk about the stuff that she bought at McKay's. But we also went to Parnassus Books, and I think that that was my favorite bookstore in Nashville. Parnassus has dogs who work there. They are employees. They're supervisors. Don't pretend that they don't work there. They are employees with benefits, but they are the benefit because they're so cute. One of them jumped directly into Natalie's lap. She was caught very unawares. Parnassus is a much bigger bookstore than all of the other ones that we've gone to on this trip, which you'd need a big bookstore in order to house. They have like multiple dogs that work there. One of them's a Cavalier. I've mentioned Cavaliers twice in this video now. One of them is a Cavalier. I was hoping that the Cavalier would be working that day. They were not, so I will have to go back to Parnassus so that I can meet the best Parnassus employee. It's us. Yeah.
We jaywalked.
We did.
That's a crime.
Gaily. We did it gaily.
We did.
I ended up grabbing Carlos a hat from Parnassus, which he loves. I got myself a t-shirt, which I have gotten compliments on. Apparently Parnassus is a well-loved bookstore, even outside of Tennessee. I got some stuff for my kids. I think I bought this at Parnassus again. I bought this at Parnassus because I stuck this sticker inside of it. It was very important for me to tell you about this sticker. Are you fucking kidding me? Are you kidding me right now? I might cry. Listen, my cat's over there. I love her so much and I hate to cheat on her, but I have a weird obsession with these dogs. Don't get me started. I had one in high school. His name was Tommy. He was a wall-eyed weirdo who licked all of the paint off the wall in one section of our house because he would get very anxious and go lick the wall. Carlos still makes fun of him for this despite the fact that Tommy died a few years ago. Anyway, we're gonna move on because I can't just sit here and talk about Cavalier Spaniels all day, though I could. I also got this really cute rainbow bookmark, which I'm going to give to my kid for Christmas. I literally started crying about the damn dog. God damn it, Rachel. So at Parnassus, I bought my kid Refugee by Alan Gratz. And the reason I bought this book is because I have talked about this multiple times. Alan Gratz wrote a book that Bruce Friedman of Clay County, Florida tried to get banned called Ban This Book. This is a middle grade book about a little girl who goes into her class and she's really excited to finally check out her favorite book again from the mixed up files, and only to find out that it has been banned from her school, and then she tries to get it back on shelves. Bruce calls this like Antifa shit. You are welcome to go read Bruce's challenge forums. He compiles them online for everyone to see. I was excited to see that Alan Gratz also has a graphic novel, and since Bruce doesn't like Alan Gratz already, that means that in Bruce's spreadsheet, he's going to label Alan Gratz prolific and problematic or PNP. So I was like, oh, a PNP author. Perfect! This is a graphic novel about 3 different kids. Yosef is a Jewish boy living in Nazi Germany. Isabel is a Cuban girl from 1994. And Mahmoud is a Syrian boy living in 2015. And all of them end up being refugees. This was adapted, but my kids are really into graphic novels. Apparently there's like a surprising twist that links all 3 of the stories together at the end, which my kids been really into, like surprise twists at the end of books. So I'm really happy that I was able to find this. When I saw Alan Gratz's name, I'm like, Alan! The PNP guy! So exciting. Everything I buy now, at least one book that I buy when I go to bookstores is typically like a fuck you to a book banner somewhere. I don't think I bought anything. I don't know what else I bought at Parnassus other than this for sure, but I was really, really happy about this. And then obviously, we can't go back to this. We can't do it. We can't do it right now. They had such a massive selection. It was so beautiful. They had this really beautifully illustrated edition of Howl's Moving Castle that Natalie thought about getting. They had a really great children's selection. A couple of things that stood out to me about this is that, well, I'll tell you one and then I'll tell you the other. So they had such a massive banned book section, and I was so grateful for this because when you talk about book banning, it's really important to talk about where is a book banned specifically, in what county, in what city, where in that county or city, public library, public school library, both, who banned it, who specifically, was it a group, was it a particular person, and why, what did they write on their challenge form, how did they justify this? It's really important because we have to document this because all of this is very interconnected. If you ever get the chance, please watch The Librarians, the documentary, which talks about the Krauss list. No book ban happens in isolation. Everything is interconnected, just like justice movements are interconnected. If you've never read Freedom is a Constant Struggle by Angela Davis, she talks about this. How the struggle in Ferguson is related to the struggle in Palestine. Fascist movements, authoritarian movements also do this. They are also always interconnected and never in isolation. They learn from each other and spread authoritarianism like a virus. So it was really important to me, and I was really grateful that they had this huge banned book selection. This was coming right off the tail end of Banned Books Week, actually. So made sense that it was up there, but just like this entire spread of banned books where it was showing the books and explaining where they were banned and saying, why they were challenged. This is really important context that we need to know in order to combat it. I found out about this recently.
Are you serious?
Yes.
For what?
There was one character that had boobies.
Oh, wow. Okay, gotta get that out of there.
Yeah. Misinformation is honestly where Moms for Liberty has succeeded. When we say things that are incorrect, they are able to propagate that and further muddy the waters and make fighting this issue so much harder for us. So having that correct info is so important. I actually got on the case of one of my local bookstores for saying incorrect information at one point about book banning locally. They said that certain books were banned from Hillsborough County public libraries. And I was like, hey, your book ban stand is wrong. You have incorrect information. They were like, no, I'm pretty sure. I'm like, I promise you, I don't mean to be like a Karen about this, but I promise you that having the correct information is important and what you have up there is not correct. It's not, there are no books banned from Hillsborough County public libraries right now. And we do need to document exactly where things are banned, when, by whom, so that we can watch the spread happen and try to prevent it from further happening. You'll actually notice, like I brought up Bruce already, you'll actually notice that probably on his challenge for Ban This Book by Alan Gratz, or at least on most of his other ones, he will say this was challenged elsewhere, this was banned elsewhere. So he admits on his own challenge that he's doing this because he's seen other people try to get it banned elsewhere. This is about whitewashing an entire country, but they don't do that in one fell swoop. They have to do it incrementally. They also had just like fun little knickknacks. There was like an entire little miniature version of Parnassus in there, which reminded me of like, not exactly the same, but just made me nostalgic because I grew up in Pinellas County, Florida, not far from where I live now. And there was one library, which is now facing censorship actually. They had this miniature dollhouse behind glass. It was so old and I don't remember where it came from or what, but I used to go to the library, get my Pony Pals books, and then go and stare at this dollhouse for hours. They also had a paper mache dragon. Anyway, sorry. You guys gave me the opportunity to just word vomit at you. This video is really for anybody who says, I would watch you read the encyclopedia. I won't do that, but I will word vomit to you about my adventures, if given the opportunity. But the other thing that really stood out to me, okay, so I texted Marinez about this because I went to go see Sleep Token months ago. I think we know that I'm a little obsessed. I went to go see Sleep Token. Carlos and I went back in September. We went to the show. I might start crying talking about it. It was amazing. So when we left the show, when it ended, Sleep Token leaves the stage. The venue started playing The Book of Love by Peter Gabriel. And I have loved that song for a really long time. It just means a lot to me. And I thought that the venue had just started playing random music. Later on, I found out from Sleep Token TikTok, somebody talked about this, that was chosen by Sleep Token to play at the end of every show. And so that meant that it had a great deal more meaning to me. And I tend to look for signs, and there's always like signs everywhere about like Sleep Token stuff, which I'll come back to in a little bit. So I'm at the bookstore and I had just told Maddie, I was like, about the Book of Love thing. And then I saw a book on the shelf and it like really stood out to me, and it was called The Book of Love. And I was like, oh my gosh, there are signs everywhere for those with eyes to see them. This ended up having more meaning for a reason that I'm going to come back to in a little bit. Actually, let me tell you about it in a second. I do think out of all the bookstores that I went to, probably this entire year, Parnassus I think was my favorite. And I can't divorce that from the Book of Love thing, which again, I'm going to come back to, but also like the banned book selection there was really, really impactful and I really appreciated it. I don't know why I'm so emotional today. Sorry, I'm going to cry more because I'm going to talk about Natalie in a second. Oh, great.
No one believes in my vision.
So after our bookstore crawl, we got into our sweatpants and then we went over to Meg's house, Meg from Meg's Tea Room. Oh, I might actually cry talking about Meg. Natalie decided to take a shift as the tea purveyor.
Hi. Oh, yeah, no, I know. What am I don't know. But fun fact, my second name is Megan. So it's technically not a lie. Can I get you something to drink? Yeah, no, I know how to make that. I'll be right. Don't go anywhere. I certainly know how to make it.
I'm so sorry. You wanted some tea? Absolutely. Be with you right one moment. I don't want to ever do that to me again.
Meg might be the nicest person that I have ever met in my life. The most genuine and kind person that I have ever met. We went to her house, we got to see the tea room, we ate a bunch of pasta, and then we sat on her couch and drank wine and talked about traumatic experiences until midnight. But then we needed to go back to the Airbnb, which was like a solid, I don't know, what was it, Natalie, like 40 minutes away? We stayed at this Airbnb out in the middle of nowhere. There were no street lights. Sleep Token reference. Right outside of the door of the Airbnb was just woods. And it's at night, it looks really fucking freaky. It was really pretty in the morning, but at night, that shit was pretty scary looking. Natalie and I got coffee at this place called Birdie's, not far from there. And it was such a cute little place. It was like in a recreated trailer. And she got to try banana milk, which you wouldn't catch me dead trying. More power to her though. You can always find really good coffee out in the middle of nowhere. That place was so stupidly cute. So if you're near Nashville, if you're a little north of Nashville, I think it might be worth going out and trying it, especially if you're a fan of banana milk like Natalie is. Ugh. I like a chai. I just want a chai. And then it was finally time for us to go to the Southern Festival of Books, which is why I flew over to Tennessee in the, first place for this purposes. But again, I did get stuck at the Nashville airport for no reason. So this was much bigger than I was anticipating. It was indoor and outdoor. The weather was not perfect. There were tents, thankfully, so we made it work. So immediately when we get there on Sunday, we went to go buy copies of the book that we were there to see in the first place, which is The Everlasting by Alex E. Harrow, which I did in fact get signed. This copy I'm going to be giving away on my bindery. If you would like a chance to win it, please go join the Godless Heathens tier of my bindery. But I also bought other books. I got one for my kids. This is a signed copy, which is exciting. Parnassus is actually the same bookstore that I fell in love with, was the one doing all of the book sales for the event. So I got this for my kiddo. It's Beyond the Game, Athletes Change the World. This is nonfiction, which I'm trying to get my kid to read more nonfiction about athletes. There's one for like LeBron James, but this one is about Jordan Marie brings 3 white horses Whetstone, who is a professional runner. I really feel the need to supplement my kids' education as far as Indigenous people, because I went to a school that taught basically nothing or nothing good about Indigenous people. My curriculum at Christian school was really racist, but I do know that my kids' education, even in public school, is not doing all that I would like it to, so I am supplementing it by trying to get him to read more nonfiction. I also bought a signed edition, The Black Family Who Built America, about the McKissick's family by Cheryl McKissick Daniel, and it is signed, which is exciting. There was a guy named Moses McKissick I, and he was an enslaved person who learned a trade that later became his family's entire legacy. And he got to see his children after the Civil War go on to be free and take up this craft and build this legacy for his family in Tennessee, actually. And his family is responsible for building some of the most important structures that you will recognize. So their imprint is in things like JFK International Airport, where I just was, where I like flew into for this whole shebang, and also Philadelphia's Lincoln Financial Field. So an important part of history that I know nothing about, an important like historical family in the United States that I don't know anything about. So I was really excited to see this. The author was doing a talk, but we didn't get to go. We went to 2 signings. So obviously Alex Hero, which I'll talk about in a second, but the first we went to was P. Jelly Clark, who wrote Ring Shout, which is one of Natalie's favorite books. So she was really excited to meet him and get it signed.
Thanks for reading, Natalie.
I love this book. It has permanent real estate on my bookshelf in the videos that I make.
Excellent. All right.
You have Ring Shout.
Good to know.
I was excited to go with her and, you know, capture her meeting P. Jelly Clark, and he was really cool. So that was exciting. We also walked around and got a couple of things. We met this really cool author because Natalie found this little duck that had a QR code on the bottom, and the QR code led us back to this author's tent, Erica Ivy Rogers, who is published through Peachtree, who I love. Erica's book is Lady of Steel and Straw. You don't see many fantasy books with scarecrows involved. And also, Peachtree Teen has never done me wrong. We got some lunch at the food trucks, which had no business being as good as it was. We were there with Natalie, her husband, and their younger son. Natalie's family is just such a joy to be around. Like, they're so fun. They're so funny. I loved being around them. I genuinely had such a great time. I'm sure they were sick of my antics. I laugh at everything that Natalie says, and I bet they were so sick of hearing me laugh. Meg was there, who we had seen the night before, Meg from Meg's Tea Room, because she was actually working the event with Cliche Teas, who, it sucks because these are both open. I guess I probably should have had nicer packaging and not opened them before doing this video, but I guess it shows that I'm genuinely using it. So Meg was there with Cliche Teas, who she works with. This is in partnership with Meg's Tea Room, with her name's on it, which is so fucking cool, Meg. So I got 2 kinds of Meg's cozy tea, and I really the chocolate Earl Grey is really good. That's like Meg's signature, and Natalie loves that one, but I am a fucking sucker for apple cinnamon. I have this obsession with this whipped cinnamon honey. Sorry, it's like creamy. From this local couple here in Tampa, and they always have like part of their beehive with them. My kids, we really like to go to local markets, and whenever my kids see the beehive, they know it's time to go buy the whipped cinnamon honey. So that mixed with this is like a dream come true for me specifically. Perfect combination. So we did see Meg for a bit. We got like a photo with Cliche Teas. It was nice. And then we went inside for a panel where we got to listen to Sierra Swift talk about her debut book, Kill the Beast, and Maddie Martinez as well, and her new book, The Maiden and the Monster. The Maiden and the Monster is about a story of a retelling of the Jewish legend of the Golem of Prague. Kill the Beast is a platonic love story retelling of the Beauty and the Beast. They both absolutely sold me on their books, but I'm a suffer for sapphics and retellings, so who's surprised? After this, we hustled outside, and Natalie needed what she calls her lizard time. So she did that while we were waiting for Alex Hero, which was like a big event event in like the big tent outside. This was a highlight of the year for me. And what's special is that it's so interconnected to another highlight of this year for me, which was Sleep Token. And that also can't be divorced from the fact that me and Natalie are obsessed with Sleep Token, particularly this song called Infinite Baths. And The Everlasting to us is quintessentially Infinite Baths, the song. I have a video on this if you want to watch it. This overlap is like so, the parallels here are so incredibly special to me for reasons I can't really articulate to you. Natalie was the first one to sort of point out the parallels between the story that originally was like The Everlasting, like the idea of it was published into a short story called The Sixth Deaths of the Saint. And then I was like, did you know that she's coming out with a full novel of that book? And then we read it together and we were like, this is Infinite Baths, like beat for beat. What's weird again about Sleep Token is that there are always like signs everywhere. I feel like this is very much my OCD brain, like looking for confirmation of things, which I also don't know how to explain to you if you don't have OCD. I feel like everything is always pointing me back to Sleep Token. So I talk about the parallels between Infinite Baths and The Everlasting, which is funny because with The Everlasting, there's a big piece to do with this sword and a yew tree, which is how the story begins and ends, which is also how the album, the new album, Even in Arcadia, begins and ends. The album ends with Infinite Baths. Like it's like a constant cycle, which is also what the book is about. It's an everlasting loop that these people are on and trying to break. And the whole thing about the sword and the tree thing is that when I realized it, I started sobbing because when I was at Even in Arcadia, outside, when I was at the Sleep Token show, when we were in line, I looked up and we're standing outside and I noticed that there were swords in the trees. Well, then also, if you will recall, at Parnassus, there was this book called The Book of Love. And that was the song that played at the end of the Sleep Token show. And The Book of Love is such a great song by Peter Gabriel. You should go listen to it. It talks about the book of love is long and boring. No one can lift the damn thing. I love when you read to me. You can read me anything. And then the next verse is, the book of love has music in it. In fact, that's where music comes from. Some of it is transcendental and some of it is really dumb. I love when you sing to me. You can sing me anything. I love that stupid song so much. I'm sorry. I saw the book and I was like, Madi, there are signs everywhere. You know, Vessel is always with us. Vessel is the guy from Sleep Token who, you know, does all of this. Like it's all his brainchild. And the reason I'm pointing all of this out is because during this event with Alex Hero, where she's sitting down with an interviewer whose name is also Rachel, which is funny, she took questions from the audience, and one audience question is, what is a book that you would recommend that you've read recently? And she recommended the exact book that I had seen at Parnassus, The Book of Love, which was the name of the song that Vessel picked for the end of the show. And the end of the show also was Infinite Baths, which loops back around to the beginning of the album, just like this book loops back around over and over, and it has to do with a sword and a tree, and it begins where it ends with the sword and the tree. The signs are always there, and I cried about it. It was really incredible to listen to Alex talk about the creation of the book, and I got to ask her a couple of questions. Somebody did ask her what song she felt like was The Everlasting, and she said some Hozier song that I don't remember. To me, the answer is Infinite Baths and Infinite Baths only. But I had asked her about the specific choice that she made to write about motherhood and how motherhood can be toxic in a way. Like you could be a toxic mother, but also in the way that a mother can be a bad mom, your motherland can also be a bad mother. Because the book is about fascism in a large way, and part of fascism is nationalism, this loyalty to a motherland who can be toxic. And I asked her about why that was important to write for her, why she pursued that theme and wrote about it with such deliverance. And she talks about how in fascism, nationalism is upheld by white women, white mothers, in creating the next group of essentially Nazis. And she wanted to talk about the part that white women specifically play in the rise of fascism and how motherhood is weaponized in this way to create a population that does fascism. That was so important to me, how she wrote about that in the book. I want to read you a couple of lines, actually. You argued that a nation is not a boundary on a map or a flag on a pole, but only a story we tell about ourselves. Alex was saying it, like making the commentary here, that who tells the story and what they say is an important part of fascism. Think about, for example, Daughters of the Confederacy and how that's a direct line to Moms for Liberty. What these groups are doing, what Daughters of the Confederacy did, what Moms for Liberty is actively doing now, is trying to control the narrative of the past. Daughters of the Confederacy actively changed curriculum to make it so that we did not look unkindly upon the South and the Civil War, which is why we have these monuments today and why kids are confused about the Civil War, and why now Moms for Liberty and its sister and brother groups are trying to use public school to raise children who perpetuate these same ideas and this same ahistorical narrative. The other quote, and this is the one that really sticks with me that I talk about a lot when I talk about the everlasting, is, "And I understood finally that a nation is a house with no windows or doors at all, that no matter how much I did, no matter how much blood I spilled in its defense or ink I spent in its praise, it would never ever be my home. But if Dominion was not my home, where was it?" And so there's like a parallel here where we talk about how if your mother is toxic to you and she's not your home, who is? But also if your motherland, no matter what you do, is not your home, what is your home?
One change from kind of the short story to the novel is that in the short story, the kind of villain was a king, and then in this one you've got, like you said, the evil queen. And so I want to know, when that change always planned, or when did you decide to go the female villain way?
Yeah, no, she was always a queen, and it was always the king in the short story. And I literally think I was like, I don't have to have time to explain. You know, like there's an efficiency to when I'm trying to talk about like kind of the cruelty of state power and what it does to narratives and how it uses heroes and heroism and how it deploys violence. And that is going to hit really quick in shorthand as a king. You see that quicker as a conqueror, I think.
You really use the myth and the medievalism to kind of talk about regime and nationalism and the dangers of that. And so you're using a thing to talk about what harm that can bring. In talking about like mythic figures and kind of how they shape a nation, I wanted to ask first, which you've talked about a little, but like what mythic figures kind of shaped you, and I don't know, maybe what mythic figures do you see today?
Still, it's interesting to me that we're not really inventing that many new ones. I know people make a case for the superhero as like the new mythic, and I see that, but I think it's interesting that we keep returning to King Arthur and to Joan of Arc and to Robin Hood and these things that were sort of, the myths were made of in the popular culture largely by the Victorians. I was thinking about how the medieval language is something that lends itself to fascism. The other moment in American popular culture when the medieval was really, really popular was the Confederate South. They loved the medieval. There's a reason knighthood comes up in their things. There's a reason Southern Gothic was what was revived. And I didn't realize until doing research for this book that Mark Twain was very aware of this and hated it super, super a lot, and had an amazing essay where he blamed Sir Walter Scott for holding back all of American culture because they all have the Ivanhoe disease, which is great because they were obsessed with like this idea of this justified hierarchy that put them on top conveniently. And so I didn't realize that Yankee in King Arthur's Court was written specifically to be like, screw you guys, actually.
And one of the other questions I asked her, and again, the signs are always there. One of the other questions I asked her is, what's your favorite line for the book? And she's like, oh, I don't know. I wrote it years ago. And I thought that was funny, but then she said the exact right answer, which was, I love that I started the story by saying it begins where it ends at the yew tree. And then the end says it ends where it begins at the yew tree. And that, again, was just confirmation that there are signs everywhere, that infinite baths and the everlasting are the same thing. And I don't know why this means so much to me. It just does. This is such a perfectly written and very intentional book. Like, it was very intentionally written. And I fear that nothing she writes or anybody writes will ever top this for me. Again, I'm going to be doing a giveaway on Bindery for this book, so if you want to go join my Bindery to get a chance to win it. We then got to get in line and get our copies signed.
Serious.
Yeah, no,
Lock in.
I hear you.
I was totally normal about this.
Yeah, you were so chill. Really proud of you.
Do you ask me questions?
Alex, I made you laugh in a DM once. I don't know if you remember.
Oh my God.
It's not a big deal. Okay.
I got one signed. This one is actually signed for me specifically. It says my name on it. I cry. It was really special to be able to talk to her. She's such a magical human being, and I just want to live on her couch and listen to her talk about all the things all the time, but not in a weird way, I promise. But part of what made this so special is just like the journey that Natalie and I have been on in talking to each other about this book and like all of the stars that align. Having read it together and had this like realization, you know, in real time together about like the overlaps between this book and that song that we love and that album that was so impactful for our friendship this year. Having gone and done this together, it was just so like magical and special to me, and I don't really know how to describe it to you without crying. God, when will this end? Cool, I just got mascara on my dress. It was a perfect end to a perfect trip. We listened to a lot of Sleep Token on the way to Nashville.
Me. Hashtag me. Samesies. I gotta catch up everywhere. Why?
Look at my feet. Do you wish that you loved me? Yes or no? Yes or no? Run!
And also in the Airbnb in New York, you can like hear it when I'm like recording B-roll. We listened to it nonstop. We had one more night together at Natalie's house, and we had to like go over all of the stuff that I had bought in our time, like all the stuff that we had both bought. We like looked at our haul, and then I was like, I can't fit all this in my suitcase. I'm gonna have you send it to me, which she had to do with a busted finger. If you know, she nearly chopped off her finger, so she really braved the post office for me. I ended up having to have her ship back so much stuff, like it was bonkers. I did just get this package in the mail like fairly recently, so I was able to finally film all this. I had to leave on Monday the 20th. I can't believe it's been a month since we've seen each other. It feels like so much longer. It feels so long without you. Before I left, the day that I left, we packed up. We went over to Memphis and we went and stopped at Novel, which is such a great bookstore in Memphis. We went there last year and filmed some fun content together. We got lunch because they have a restaurant like in Novel, which is cool. And she got more of her lizard time. And then I picked up a couple things at Novel, but I don't fucking remember what they were. Novel is a really good store. I really like that bookstore. We did see some Jerry's. If you're familiar with Sleep Token, then you know what we're talking about. And if not, you should start listening to Sleep Token and following along with the lore so that you can be emotionally damaged too. And then she had to take me to the airport, and it was very sad. I remember just sitting there filming the planes and being like, what if I just turned around and didn't get on my plane? What then? I'm so incredibly lucky to have this person as my best friend. Genuinely, it is a crime that she and I do not live closer together. If she's watching this, just know that I love you, and being friends with you hits me in my chest like infinite baths, and I love you. I don't know, I guess I'm trying to think if I forgot anything. I did have a fun time trying to film some people on the subway, not people specifically, but I just wanted to like show like that people on the subway read a lot. There's a lot of reading going on the subway. You would assume that everybody just be on their phone, but there's a lot of readers on the New York City subway, so that was pretty cool. Please enjoy this wrap up of me filming people on the subway reading their books. One of them was in Russian. And I was like, oh, sick. I cannot read a single word of that. But I'm so deadly curious when I see people reading. I'm like, what are you reading? Because, you know, my job. Natalie and I are getting back together at Christmas time because I literally cannot live without seeing her constantly. So stay tuned for our Christmas adventures. Thank you so much for watching. I'm going to try to film something else without crying this time. And I'll see you next time. Bye. And before I go, I have to say thank you for being a friend to my Therapy Bills patrons. I will say that these no longer show up on Patreon in alphabetical order, so sorry about that. And those thank yous go to Lex, SJ, Eric, Peggy Lou, Quinn, Rain, Scarlett, John E, Alexander, Samar, Ashley H, DJ Rocktopus, Kaleno K, Emerald Dodge, Ellie, Minby, Steph B, Lemon Jelly, Mixer Boneless, Lily, 3 Raccoons in a Trench Coat, Lady Chips Loves Pride, Call Me Kodiak, Ree Mirage, Katya, Melissa, Kai Brecker has not read 6 of Crows, Lex, Megwin, Maddie Miss, Not So Secretly a Skeleton, Jory, Piloting SRN, Bex, Fox Waifu, Charlie Bear, Ricky Strong. Thank you all so much for being here and for being a friend. And a quick thank you to my Potato Starch Marxists, Ebby, Carlin, Paige P, Sean, Sarah the Bear, Jill, Talia, Corwin, Andy Mations, Darren, Tito Phoenix, Might Be a Magpie, Martin, Artie the Ninth, Hannah C, Shamed, Ava, Malara, Rachel B, Rebecca, Baywing, Amanda, Lustful Octopus, Lady Kittybug, Angelica, Jenny G, JM Tennant, Jay is on Olympus, Laughing Cat Dog, Dorothea supports public education, Nicole G, Colleen, Sarah H, Sheen Onion, Foxglove, Danielle M, Kendra, Sakoria, Kayala, Sadie Selby, Bookish Rabbit, Caitlin M, Rosie Thorns, Penny Chilling, Katie L, Lou Siri, Aaron with 2 E's, Jen Michelle, LP, Jojo Bookish, Jessa Sue, Lazarus Ray, Casper, Genderqueer, Jelly V, Lauren G, Man Eating Plant, Kate W, Saki Lume, Lindsay M, Gadarn, Dilf Enthusiast, KMTV, Kaylee Carpenter, Alejandra, Desiree Michelle, Darius, Triple M, Saintbringer, Bookish B, Bookish by Jenna, Althea, Megan, Francis, Kate B, Plague Carrier, Jackalope Max, Queen Cereal, Pandemonium, Mata Raptor, Rosemary K, Drive By Thinker, Juicy Wizard, Sophie L, Barry B, I Like My Women Like I Like My Books Thick, Mima Who, Katrina, Unicorn Jenny, That One Cute Chick, Hurry Sing, Myth Lesbian, This Is Not a Trap, Laura is Angry, Rhea Slagle, Morgan, Celeste, Macy Jane, Aaron S, Danita M, Cosmic Frog, Jesse, Rach, Kayla Alexander Kenny, Ren, Natural Blues, NM Rap, Che, Jing, Katuary, Taz, Miss Fox and Arda, Mac, Junie for Now, Gabby Z, T Foxbones, Pi, Adian, Mia, Fishy Fish, Chloe M, Luke has sleep token brain rot, hell yeah. Kath, Kellen R, Blubbles the Fish, Cass Plays, Jesse M. Thank you all so much for being here and for being a friend.